Man, I hope for your sake your earbuds are fully charged and ready to go. I hope that you got nothing on your schedule for the next hour and a half. If you're at work, tell your boss you're taking a long lunch. If you're surrounded by loudmouths, tell them to shh. We have so much going on. We have so much to talk about. It's like there's so much news in one day. I can't even begin to tell you what President Donald Trump's been doing today. I mean, I'm going to begin to tell you. I'm going to not only begin to tell you, but I'm going to finish telling you. And by the time I'm done, he's probably going to have done like 8 more things because the president has been all over the joint today. He was at Quantico, Virginia, talking to the troops about military readiness and preparedness, about not being fatties. It's true. It's true. It's true. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, and the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the most lethal fighting force ever put together. When they got all the generals from all over, all the admirals, they called everybody to Quantico. They said, drop what you're doing. Get on the choppers. Come to D.C. Come to Quantico, Virginia, so we can tell you no more fatties. That's not. I'm paraphrasing. Actually, I'm not. I think that may be a direct quote. We'll get into that story because, man, Pete Hegseth. That you want to talk about the right man at the right time for the right job? Pete Hegseth, as Secretary of War, that dude is. I can't believe that dude used to be the weekend anchor at Fox and Friends. He should have at least been the daily anchor. No offense to our good friend Brian Kilmeade, but man, that guy is what you want to talk about a Secretary of War. If you were going to tell AI to create a Secretary of War, AI could not do a better job than God did with Pete Hegseth, and we'll talk all about that here in just un minuto. Speaking of un minuto, Hakeem Jeffries is big mad that Donald Trump made him a Mexican in an AI meme.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore.
Yeah, I just can't even believe the President of the United States has a meeting with Democrats and Republicans, and they're talking about shutting down the government, which it looks like the government will be shut down momentarily. And by momentarily, I mean at midnight. It looks like the government's going to be shut down, and this meeting goes about as well as you think. The Democrats, they want everything. They want all this stuff that they're not going to get because we got elected. And well, Donald Trump said we won the election. We won the election. We were told not to do any of this stuff. We stripped it out of the budget. Now you're trying to hold us hostage till we turn it back. So the Democrats leave. They basically say no deal. The Republicans come out and say the Democrats are holding us hostage. Donald Trump goes on Truth Social and posts a meme, an AI-generated meme of Chuck Schumer talking while Hakeem Jeffries, a.k.a. Timu Obama, is standing next to him with a big Mexican sombrero and mustache while La Cucaracha plays in the background.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit.
Okay, by the way,
not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Okay. Even Latino.
Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. To my Latino viewers and friends, mis amigos. It's not La Cucaracha. It's the Mexican hat dance. And that was definitely my bad.
Hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
That was the President of the United States, by the way, posted that on his Truth Social. He has a meeting. Yeah, he brings the congressional leaders in, brings in Chuck Schumer, the leader of the minority leader in the Senate, brings in Hakeem Jeffries, who is told he's the minority leader of the House of Representatives, but we know it's really AOC. And they have a meeting, and the Democrats say, we want all this stuff, and the Republicans say, no, thank you, and they leave, and then Donald Trump posts that meme of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries with Hakeem in a sombrero and a big, it's like one of those big mustaches, like, who's the guy that would, I guess you would say Pancho Villa, right? Is that what is a big Pancho Villa? And it doesn't matter. Timu Obama was very upset, by the way. He did not find the humor in that at all. We'll get, like I said, there's just too much news. Government shutdown news. The no more woke in the military news. We've got Hakeem Jeffries being mad news. We've got John Fetterman basically becoming a Republican and starting a war with AOC news. Oh, and just if that weren't enough, Donald Trump broke into regularly scheduled programming just like an hour ago to make an announcement about cheap drugs. Yeah, Now, look, drugs are going to be cheap.
Today, I'm thrilled to announce that one of the world's largest pharmaceutical manufacturers and one of the best anywhere in the world, Pfizer, has agreed to offer countless prescription medications at major discounts in the United States as a result of the most favored nation drug pricing order that we established earlier this year. As you know, the United States is paying sometimes 10 times more than other countries for drugs, and a lot of excuses were made for that, but it went on for many years, many years, decades, and it's not going on any longer. We're going to be paying the lowest price now. We're going to be paying whatever the lowest price is, favored nations. This will save American taxpayers and consumers hundreds of millions of dollars.
By the way, doesn't anyone check the microphone before the president takes to the stage? I mean, look, the president, he wants to be the first one to speak, and he's earned the right to be the first one to speak, but somebody should go in there and make sure the microphone's working, because that's just disrespect. I'm a big fan of microphones, as you know, and I'm a stickler for, I don't like when things go wrong. I can't handle technical difficulties. I get really frustrated. Sometimes I throw things. Sometimes I may even curse. But I'm not a big fan of that. If I were the president and I knew that my microphone wasn't working, then I'd be furious. But Donald Trump held his. I don't think he knew until later. But anyway, look, that's neither. There's so much going on today. I don't even know where to start. I'm going to start by saying thank you so much for being here, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. Man, iTunes and Spotify, we are in the top 1% of podcasts worldwide. I think I told you that last week, which I'm very excited. But you know what? That probably deserves one of these. Yeah. We're in the top 1% of podcasts worldwide, and the reason we're in the top 1% of podcasts worldwide is twofold. The first reason is you, because you listen to it every single day. You listen to it whenever you can. Sometimes you listen to multiple episodes on one day. Sometimes you complain to me that you've listened to all the episodes and can I please make more? You subscribe to it, you listen to it, you pass it around, you share it with your friends. You are dedicated and devoted patriots from all over the globe, and I appreciate all of you. And that's one of the reasons why we're one of the top 1% of podcasts nationwide and globally. The second reason is me, because I come in here every single day. I situate myself at Patriot HQ in Mar-a-Lago, in illustrious downtown Jacksonville, Florida, where I produce Mark K. Saves the Republic. So between me and you, we've dominated the podcast arena, and we're now one of the top 1% of podcasts globally. Again, let's give ourselves a big air horn. Yeah, I feel like Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. That's what that's going to be. Anyway, but like I said, definitely make sure you subscribe and you set those notifications. But I guess we should start with the shutdown, because the shutdown is imminent. The shutdown is coming. The shutdown is just under 12 hours away. It's like 10 hours and 49 minutes away. At midnight tonight, the government will shut down because Timu Obama and Chuck Cheese on the raw side of the meat, Schumer, Chuck, you've released the whirlwind Schumer, have decided it's more important for the Democrat Party to fight for illegal criminal aliens than it is for law-abiding American citizens. It's more important for the Democrats to try to fund health care for illegal criminal thug gang member aliens than it is for them to, keep American patriots getting paid while they defend our homeland against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That's who the Democrats side with. They side with illegal immigrants. They side against law-abiding American patriots who are working diligently to make sure that this government runs smoothly and that this country goes on day by day by day by day. So the government will shut down tonight. Now, is that good news for the Democrats? Is it bad news for the Republicans? You know what? Only one man can answer that question, and that is me. Here's me earlier today on Newsmax answering that very question.
Welcome in the host of Mark K. Saves the Republic. That would be Mark K. Along with the host of the Ike Wingate Show and Newsmax contributor, he'd be Ike Wingate. All right, Mark, it seems like the vice president, congressional leadership, all think the same thing. We are headed toward a shutdown. Republicans won't give in to Democrat demands. Democrats refuse to even discuss a CR unless they get their massive $1 trillion in health care for illegals. Do you see any way that this doesn't end in a shutdown tonight?
No, not at all. It's going to be a shutdown, and we've got the countdown clock on the official White House Twitter page, so we know what's going to happen. And Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, they don't have any other cards to play, and Donald Trump and his team with J.D. Vance and Russ Vought and everyone else at the White House, they've played it perfectly. If there is a shutdown, great. They take their scalpel, they pick up Elon Musk's Doge chainsaw just where he put it down, and they start going to town and making the reductions in the government workforce that they think that they're tasked to do based on the mandate they got. And the government will be more effective and it will become smaller, and it will be thanks to the Democrats giving him that rescission power. And if the government doesn't shut down, great. There'll be no government shutdown for the Democrats to run against Republicans on in the midterm next year. So for Donald Trump, his team at the White House, and Republicans in Congress, it's a win-win. And for Democrats, I mean, there's no way to lose if you're a Democrat. There's no way other than losing if you're a Democrat today.
I'm just over it. I mean, we talk about it every 2 or 3 months. It's going to be a shutdown. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. I really just think at this point the Senate needs to do away with the filibuster when it comes to CRs. Maybe appropriations, they probably won't go that long. But at least if you're going to do a CR with no substantive changes to spending, you don't need a 60 vote. You can do it with 50, and we never have to deal with this again.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of CRs. I never was a fan of a big fan of a CR. Thomas Massey, Victoria Spartz voted against this because they're not fans of CRs. We're not really sure where Rand Paul is going to fall on this too. He doesn't like any kind of government spending without, cutting the budget elsewhere. So there's offsets. But at the same time, if you're going to have a CR, this is the cleanest one you could possibly have. John Thune even held it up. It was 24 pages. I mean, I've had health insurance agreements that are like 5 times as long as that. So it is a temporary fix. They do talk about how this is something that is boilerplate, how it's a common occurrence in Congress, and that is an issue. But yeah, I guess what we're going to need to do is get this CR done, and then we can maybe do away with the filibuster, especially for the CRs, or look into Rick Scott's plan about figuring out a way to temporarily fund the government so we avoid government shutdowns, and you don't have this tool in your toolbox anymore if you're a Democrat trying to fund health care for illegal, non-American criminal aliens.
24 pages? My CVS receipt's longer than that.
And my bar bill was longer than that.
That guy knows what he's talking about. But it's a good point. There is no downside for the Republicans with this particular CR. There's no downside for Donald Trump and the Republican leadership when it comes to this particular CR. Basically, what Donald Trump was asked about this too. Let me see. I don't even know if I have this clip. Donald Trump was asked about this too, and they said, look, there's really, there's no loss for us. Either we're not going to shut down the government, and that means that the Democrats won't be able to run on it, which is something that they like to do. They want to run on, the Republicans shut down the government, Donald Trump shut down the government. That's not at all the case. But what the Republicans are going to do is they're either going to have a victory by stopping the government shutdown, or they're just going to hack away at all of these programs that they want to hack away at. And there's nothing that the Democrats are going to be able to do. There's nothing they're going to be able to do to stop it, because the CR will give President Donald Trump this rescission power that they've been fearful of. In fact, this is part of the whole thing. Listen to what Hakeem Jeffries, do I have the clip here? Let me say this. Listen to what Hakeem Jeffries, and that's what I've been looking for. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer have demanded. This is what they're demanding from President Donald Trump and the Republicans before that. Here, listen to this. This is, I think this is it here. Wait a minute. Nope, that's the VP. Do I have? Maybe I don't have it. Maybe I got rid of it. Maybe I deleted it. Maybe I said, no, thanks. Hold on. I'll find it in just a minute. But basically, they said, we not only want the healthcare provisions for illegals, but we also don't want the president to be able to make rescission cuts. They want their cake. They want to eat it too. And they want to do it by without shutting down the government. None of that's going to happen. If they want everything that they want, one of two things. First of all, they should probably just win elections, which is what John Fetterman told them to do. John Fetterman's out there like, look, guys, if we want to do stuff, we've got to start winning elections. And if we want to win elections, we probably not got to be horrible politicians. We've got to come up with better ideas. We got to drop all this woke BS. We can't be sitting around placating these folks who are basically lunatics. We can't sit around trying to figure out how do we make sure that the minority, the vocal minority is placated. How do we keep these people, these transgender weirdos and these folks that want, woke for all? We gotta stop them. Otherwise, we're going to continue to lose. And if we continue to lose, we're never going to get what we want. And the Republicans, as long as they're in control of the White House and the House of Representatives and the Senate, which they are right now, they're never gonna forgive us anything. Nor should they, because the American people have decided with their votes. And the long and the short of it is that the Democrats have no leg to stand on, not with the White House, not with Congress, and especially not with the American voters, because the American voters fired them, skipped over Kamala Harris and said, you know who we want? We want that Donald Trump guy. Here's that clip I was looking for, by the way. It only took me forever to find it. This is Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer speaking yesterday outside the White House. Here's what they had to say.
We have very large differences on health care and on their ability to undo whatever budget we agree to through rescissions and through impoundment, as well as pocket rescissions.
All right, look at that. He's like, look, listen to that one more time. By the way, as I listened to this would have been a great what the bleep. We have very large differences.
We have very large differences on health care and on their ability to undo whatever budget we agree to through rescissions and through impoundment, as well as pocket rescissions.
Yeah, so he's like, look, we don't want to give you the votes you want. We don't want you to also take advantage of the pocket rescissions should the government shut down. They're backed into a corner. They know it, and that's why they're so angry. Well, that's one of the reasons why they're so angry. The other reason they're so angry is because President Donald Trump posted that meme of Hakeem Jeffries, and he posted the meme.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore.
Yeah, nobody. Sorry. That's my favorite. Hakeem Jeffries and he's so mad that I'll play you how mad he is here. Here it is. So the meme, once again, Hakeem Jeffries says nothing. He's like, it's like what is it? Penn and Teller. Chuck Schumer's out there saying stuff. It's AI Chuck Schumer. And Hakeem Jeffries is Teller just with his mouth closed shut.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
Yeah. So that's by the way, I should point out that's AI generated. That's AI generated. But Hakeem Jeffries was so mad that today he held a press conference to talk about how mad he was.
Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't cop out through a racist and fake AI video. When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face.
By the way, I have some experience with AI. I don't know if you've read the stories, but that's a misnomer. It's not a fake AI video. That is a real AI video. That is a real AI video of a fake Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. And I've had to explain this multiple times to various different resources that AI videos, AI photos, they're not fake. It's a real AI generated image of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. But Hakeem Jeffries is so mad that also Donald Trump didn't say anything about Hakeem Jeffries. He didn't even let Hakeem Jeffries or AI generated Hakeem Jeffries say a gosh darn thing. So I don't know why real Hakeem Jeffries is so angry.
Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't cop out through a racist and fake AI video. When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face. Say it to my face.
I don't imagine he'll be back in the Oval Office anytime soon. You know what he's really mad about? You know what Timo Obama's really mad about? He's mad because he realizes he's not the leader of the Democrat Party, the minority leader of the House of Representatives. The minority leader of the House of Representatives is a leader of the Democrat Party, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And we know that because when John Fetterman says, stop calling Republicans Nazis, when John Fetterman tells Democrats, please stop calling Republicans Nazis, you're doing it wrong. When John Fetterman says, I'm going to vote against this CR. I'm sorry, I'm going to vote for this CR because shutting down the government is bad. When John Fetterman, one of your own, steps out, they don't go to Timu Obama and ask him about it. They go to AOC.
All the way. But I mean, on the left, you've got such extremes. Would you consider switching parties?
No, I'm not going to switch, but I'm just going to be an independent voice in the Democratic Party. I'm not going to be afraid if people, and if there are groups attacking a Democrat, the last one in Pennsylvania, then to me, that's part of the problem, in our party. And if you want a Democrat that's going to call people Nazis or fascists or all these kinds of things, well, I'm not going to be that guy. Independent thinking and views wherever that I happen to believe the truth, regardless if it's the Republican or the Democratic voice, what I think is the truth in this. Now, in this truth right now, it's firmly on Israel through this. And it's always wrong to shut our government down. And that's where my voice is. And if that puts me as an outlier, and that's where I am.
What do you think happens to Netanyahu if he doesn't?
All right, so he goes, if I'm an outlier, I'll be an outlier. I don't care. I'd rather be an outlier than an outright liar, which is what most Democrats are. John Fetterman is an outlier. Chuck Schumer is an outright liar. And so John Fetterman says, I'd rather be the outlier. The media, of course, runs to the minority leader, AOC, to find out what the true leader of the Democrat Party thinks about John Fetterman's comments.
Do you mind if I ask you about what John Fetterman is saying? He's saying that Democrats should not be comparing any more Republicans or Trump supporters to Nazis or Adolf Hitler. What do you think about that after Charlie Kirk shooting?
I think he's entitled to his opinion.
I think he's entitled to his opinion. John Fetterman, the outlier, says we shouldn't be comparing anyone to Nazis. Don't compare Republicans to Nazis. Don't call Republicans Nazis. Don't call Donald Trump a fascist or a Nazi. Look what happened to Charlie Kirk. Our rhetoric matters. Our words matter. He also posted a meme, by the way, about how left-wing violence is on the rise. I don't know. The Democrats have to just be kicking themselves because they are the ones that dragged John Fetterman across the aisle. John Fetterman was a literal vegetable. John Fetterman had a stroke the night of the primary in Pennsylvania. He had a stroke and he was in the hospital when he won the primary. And the Democrats, hell-bent on power, they decided they were going to do whatever it took to drag John Fetterman across the finish line, and they put him up there to debate, and it was a debacle, and it was the most disgusting. It was so sad to think that John Fetterman's wife and his team and Chuck Schumer and all the other Democrats were like, they were so hell-bent on keeping power in the seat of Pennsylvania that they threw John Fetterman with half a brain, literally, tied behind his back, up on stage. He could barely speak. He could barely think. He couldn't formulate a sentence. He went up against Dr. Oz. Somehow he won. And now that he's kind of on the mend, he realizes the Democrats are whack jobs. And he doesn't want anything to do with them. He doesn't want to be calling people fascists. He doesn't want to be that's not a good move. That's not the right move. You can't, as a senator, as a congressperson, as a Democrat leader, sit there and call the other side fascists and Nazis and compare them to Hitler and not think that political violence is going to erupt. And then when it does erupt, to not call it out is just even more irresponsible. And what does AOC say? He's entitled to his opinion. That's it. He's entitled to his opinion. Here's his opinion. Actually, this is a fact. A brand new study from Axios. Left-wing terrorism climbs to a 30-year high. Left-wing terrorism climbs to a 30-year high. It is, and if you're listening to the podcast, and you're not looking at the visual, terrorism for the year appears to be down. It appears to be down, but the Democrat terrorism is at least 5 times what the Republican terrorism is. The left-wing and the right-wing terrorism numbers are starkly different. And for the first time, it looks like in this graph, the left-wing terrorism it surpasses any other kind, especially domestically. Now, what is the difference? What's different in 2025? What's changed this year? Maybe Donald Trump returning to office and the Democrats calling him Hitler every 5 minutes. At least That's John Fetterman's opinion, which AOC says he is entitled to. Very, very. It's interesting to see where this divide in the Democrat Party is going to go. They're going to have to continue to attack Donald Trump. They're going to have to continue to attack Republicans. They're going to have to continue to attack these people on the right who are trying to make America great again by throwing illegal immigrant aliens, thug gang members out of the country. They're going to have to continue to attack Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and the rest of the folks on the right because they're trying to make our cities safer by putting the National Guard in place, by arresting Antifa terrorists. Just wait till they come for George Soros. Just wait till they start seizing bank accounts. Wait until Donald Trump and the Department of Justice and Scott Bessent at the Treasury, wait until they track down the money. They follow the money and they realize that money has gone from George Soros to his crazy lunatic son who married Huma Abedin because I guess he's a glutton for punishment, who's been funding various different groups and organizations that have been dropping bricks on the streets and funding the perfectly printed placards and signs by the dozens, giving them gas masks and luxury buses to travel around the country so that they can wreak havoc in various different cities wherever they need to be on the turn of a dime. That's what they're going to do, and they're going to have to start shutting down these bank accounts and seizing assets. And that's when things are real. You think they're crazy now? Wait till the money dries up. Then they're really going to need some kind of sedatives. Luckily, Pfizer is discounting drugs, so they'll be able to get drugs a lot cheaper.
Today, I'm thrilled to announce that one of the world's largest pharmaceutical manufacturers and one of the best anywhere in the world, Pfizer, has agreed to offer countless prescription medications at major discounts in the United States as a result of the most favored nation drug pricing order that we established earlier this year.
Yeah, and now Pfizer not only charging less for drugs, but they are going to be investing billions of dollars domestically because that's all part of it. Donald Trump's like, look, you can't keep making these drugs overseas. First of all, it's not safe. Second of all, it puts money in the pockets of our enemies, and they don't keep the money in their pockets. They put them into their military, and well, that's a big threat.
Furthermore, Pfizer will invest $70 billion to reshore domestic manufacturing facilities. In other words, they're going to bring a lot of their facilities to make their drugs and make what they make, their product. They're going to make it in the United States. I appreciate that $70 billion investment and fund research and development right here in America. We're working with other major pharmaceutical companies to secure similar agreements. Everyone understands that the status quo where Americans pay more for drugs, prescription drugs, and they pay more than foreign countries who take advantage of us in many other ways, although not so many anymore. I think we've pretty well got that stopped, right? I think so. We've stopped that, but they took advantage of a lot of other presidents, that I can tell you. But
yeah, they took a lot of advantage of a lot of presidents. We've stopped it now. And the thing to remember, the thing to keep in mind is that when $70 billion is invested by Pfizer in the United States of America, that's $70 billion that isn't invested somewhere else. When Donald Trump talks about bringing jobs home and manufacturing with these tariffs, it's not just because he wants the money invested here in the United States of America. He wants to choke our enemies from that, that faucet full of cash. He doesn't want the spigot to be just pumping out American dollars into the Chinese military or into the Indian military or into Russia or any of those other places. It's like he told Europe, he goes, you guys are fighting Russia. You guys are sending all these weapons. You're sending all this money to Ukraine, and then you keep buying Russian oil and buying Russian natural gas. And all that money goes right back into the military that you're fighting. You're funding both sides of the war. And he's right about that. And Donald Trump realizes that here in the United States of America, we've been funding the arms race with ourselves against China. We borrow money from China like there's no tomorrow. We pay them interest that they use then to invest in their military. Not only that, we're buying pretty much everything, including our pharmaceuticals from China. And with all that money, they just pump it back into their military. And then we turn around and in a blink of an eye, we're like, whoa, where did China get all these ships? How come their Navy has multiplied 5-10 times in the last 20 years? How is it they have these intergalactic ballistic missile systems that can go anywhere in the entire world undetected in the blink of an eye? Oh, guess what? That's all funded by American dollars. And Donald Trump says, forget that. 70 billion has to come back here to the United States of America. It's got to get away from China. Same thing with Apple. The iPhones, you got to bring, Apple's got to invest 100 billion, 200 billion, whatever you can here in the United States of America, because we need to make sure that that money is not going to China. They're going to spend it on things that are not going to be good for us. They'll spend it on their military so that they can attack us. We are going to spend it on our military so that we can keep the peace worldwide. Which brings us to the meeting in Quantico. Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War. They went to Quantico, Virginia. They called every general and admiral around the world to a meeting. They put them down in the front row. They stood up at the microphone and they said, from now on, no more woke. This meeting today, as Pete Hegseth so poetically put it, is about the nature of ourselves.
The topic today is about the nature of ourselves. Because no plan, no program, no reform, no formation will ultimately succeed unless we have the right people and the right culture at the War Department. If I've learned one core lesson in my 8 months in this job, it's that personnel is policy. Personnel is policy. The best way to take care of troops is to give them good leaders committed to the warfighting culture of the department. Not perfect leaders, good leaders. Competent, qualified, professional, agile, aggressive, innovative, risk-taking, apolitical, faithful to their oath and to the Constitution.
Yeah, and that is the best kind of leader. That's a great kind of, everyone should write that down somewhere and say, this is the kind of leader I want leading me. This is the kind of leader I want to be. Competent and qualified. And what was the other thing?
Good leaders. Competent, qualified, professional, agile, aggressive, innovative, risk-taking, apolitical, faithful to their oath and to the Constitution.
Yeah, I like all those except for the apolitical part. But that's exactly the kind of leader we need in charge of our American military. That's not the kind of leader we've had in charge of our American military. We've had woke leaders. We've had leaders that have been timid and weak. We've had leaders that have made lethality and fighting and winning wars with as little human loss of life as possible on either side a secondary mission. And the main mission was to, make sure everyone felt that they were comfortable in the military, make sure everybody felt like nobody was bullying them in the military. We were running a military where everybody had an equal say and got equal opportunity. And Pete Hegseth's like, we're not doing that anymore.
This administration has done a great deal from day one to remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department, to rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that.
Yeah, that's Pete Hegseth talking to men and women as if they're adults. That's Pete Hegseth saying the Department of War is the Department of War for a reason. Our job is to fight and to train so that if necessary, we can wage war. And we can wage war with the fury and the violence and the destitution that only the American military can provide our enemies. If anybody dares cross the line with the United States of America and her military, they will be raptured like, the consequences will be brutal, and they will not be something that will be easily forgotten. And it will serve as an example. The idea of the Department of War is to be such a fighting force with such competent leaders, people that are dedicated to the cause of destruction when necessary in order to keep the peace, that no other country dare raise arms against us. That's what the Department of War is for. That's what Pete Hegseth says we have to get back to. And Donald Trump himself emulated that. Oh, also, no more fatties. They don't want. Pete Hegseth says no more fatties. No, it's so funny because Donald Trump, before this meeting started, Donald Trump was, he was outside the White House. He was getting on Marine One. He was getting on the helicopter. And Donald Trump's favorite thing to do before he gets on the helicopter is stop and answer a myriad of questions about basically everything from the press corps that stands there outside the helicopter. And they have their microphones and you can hear the helicopter blades in the background. But Donald Trump knows to yell. And they asked him about this meeting. This meeting, the media is so stupid. This meeting I read about on my way to New Hampshire over the weekend. I was reading something online and it said Pete Hegseth has summoned every military leader to a secret meeting in Quantico on Tuesday. And I thought to myself, well, if you're reporting it online that it's a secret meeting and it's at Quantico on Tuesday, that's not much of a secret meeting. If it's a secret meeting and you've just published online the location and time of the meeting, that does not constitute a secret meeting. Other people were nervous. What is going on at this meeting? What is Pete Hegseth going to tell these military leaders? Why are admirals and five-star generals and battalion commanders from every single global defensive initiative, every single base from Germany, from the Middle East, why are they being uprooted and brought to the United States of America? Why are they being brought to Quantico for this secret meeting that happens at Quantico on Tuesday? Are they planning a war? Are they getting orders to invade? This is what the media thought. They thought that this secret meeting that everybody knew about would be some kind of plan of attack where Pete Hegseth was basically going to tell them who we're at war with and what they need to do. And in a way it was. It wasn't secret because it was broadcast on every major news network, but he did say, we have a plan of attack. We're taking on woke. We're taking on DEI. We're eliminating fatties. Donald Trump described it a little differently.
Why gather all the generals in one place for a speech?
Well, this is only an esprit de corps. You know what esprit de corps is? This is only a spirit. We're going to be talking to him. Pete Hegseth is talking right now. I'm going to have to leave because I have to talk to him. But these are our generals, our admirals, our leaders. And it's a good thing. A thing like this has never been done before because they came from all over the world. And there's a little bit of expense, not much, but there's a little expense to that. We don't like to waste it. We'd rather spend it on bullets and rockets, frankly. But this was the one time we had to do a great spiritizing. It's going to be great. I've seen it already. We have every general, every admiral. We have great people. We have our real warriors over there.
Donald Trump says it's a esprit de corps. Spirit of the group. It's just esprit de corps. That's what, what esprit de corps is? It just means we're coming together and we're all going to share some camaraderie and share the general spirit of our corps, of our group. We are a group of American warfighters who have dedicated our lives in service of the United States of America, really in service of the world. We are a group of people, career military men and women, career fighters and warriors who have learned and studied and fought and trained, not just ourselves, but others. We are the reason why the American military is so mighty. We are the reason why the American military is the force to be reckoned with globally. We are the reason why there is more calm and peace in the world today than at any point in history. It's because of the American military leaders that were in this group. And we are going to come together to share our spirit, our camaraderie, our idealism, our morals, our convictions in an esprit de corps. And what is the core of our spirit? No more fatties.
It's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops.
Fat troops. That's the spirit. Fat troop. No more fat troops.
And see fat troops.
Fat troops. I don't want to see those. What don't I want to see?
Fat troops.
Yeah, no more. No more fat troops. Look, the first time Donald Trump said, I don't want any fat Secret Service officers. You see, Donald Trump fired the Secret Service agents because they were fat and they couldn't run alongside the beast. They couldn't run alongside the limo. Donald Trump's like, your job is to protect me. Your job is to run along my car, run alongside my car. Your job is to jump in front of the bullet if somebody tries to take a whack at me. Your job is to seek out and subdue any kind of perpetrator, anybody who might cause me harm. That's your job. You can't be fat. He had no problem. He said, look, we can't have fat Secret Service agents. And Pete Hegseth's like, yeah, you know what? We can't have fat troops either.
Likewise, see fat troops.
Fat troops. You know what else we can't have? Can't Can't have fat admirals either.
Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
That's right. We want no more fatties. No fatties on the battlefield. It's not a fatty field. It's a battlefield. We don't want fatties walking around the halls of the Pentagon. You know, there's 5 rings. We need as much space as we can get. We need thin, fit, physically capable troops, warriors on the ground with standards, and we need fit, examples of physical fitness walking the halls of the Pentagon, walking around these command posts. Nobody is going to respect a fat admiral. It sounds like Fat Albert. It's Fat Admiral. We got ships on the water. You can't be a fat admiral. You know, we don't want to displace any more water than we need to. Can't have the boat capsizing if the admiral decides to look out the starboard rail. Come on. Get yourselves in shape, fatties.
And leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test.
All right. You got to meet height and weight standards. You got to pass your PT. What is it? Where's my camera? You got to pass your PT standards. You got to take a PT test twice a year. You got to make sure that your height and weight are comparable, meaning you don't have to be like a certain height. It's not like you're too short. Or maybe you are. I don't know. I don't know if there's a height requirement for military service, but I imagine they're going to look at your height. They're going to look at your weight. And if you're 5'4", 200 some odd pounds, odds are you're going to lose your commission. If you're 6'1", 200 pounds, you might be fine as long as you can pass that PT test. This is all, look, no more fatties. That's the esprit de corps of the Department of War. And it's pretty good. I mean, look, you got to have standards. Pete Hegseth said, look, the problem that we have in our military is not necessarily woke, although it was. It's not really DEI, although it was. It was this lack of standards. And if you don't have standards, you risk everything, especially the lives of those men and women who stood up and volunteered to protect the rest of us.
Why gather all the generals?
I don't want my son serving alongside troops who are out of shape, or in combat unit with females who can't meet the same combat arms physical standards as men, or troops who are not fully proficient on their assigned weapons, platform, or task, or under a leader who was the first but not the best. Standards must be uniform, gender neutral, and high. If not, they're not standards. They're just suggestions. Suggestions that get our sons and daughters killed.
If you don't have standards that are uniform and high, then they're just suggestions. You can't suggest somebody be physically fit. You can't suggest somebody be proficient in whatever military aspect they're training for. You can't just suggest somebody know how to fly a plane or operate a weapon. You can't just suggest that kind of thing. You've got to actually stick to those standards. You've got to make sure that those standards are met. And he said something else. So I retweeted this because I thought it was really a powerful statement. Pete Hegseth said that we must restore a ruthless, dispassionate, and common sense application of standards. Ruthless, dispassionate, and common sense. That's what we need. That's what the American military is for. That's how the American military became great. That's how it will become great again. And the lack of those things, the lack of passionate or dispassionate standards, the lack of high standards, the lack of all of those things is what brought us to where we are today. No more. Physical fitness, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you're an airborne or chairborne, whether you're an admiral, whether you're enlisted, whether you're a private or a 5-star general, it doesn't matter. What's going to happen is you're going to have physical fitness requirements. And if you show up and you fail, you're hitting the bricks.
It all starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force.
If the secretary, he's basically, and he's talking about himself. Look, I saw Pete Hegseth doing the pull-ups and the burpees and the push-ups and all. I saw the Secretary of Health and Human Services do it. If RFK Jr., who's pushing 80, can do it, clearly the fat admirals and the troops on the ground can do it too. He said, like, it all starts with physical fitness. It starts with physical fitness. We have to have standards. We need to make sure that people aren't just being put in positions because they're the first. They're the first black female to lead a battalion. Okay, but are they the best person to do it? They're the first person to do it who's a black female. This is the first transgender admiral of whatever it is. Okay, but is that the best person for the job? Doesn't matter. If you look at all the transgenders who want the job, they's the best one. They's the best. I don't even know. They're the best one for that job. I don't know about, are they the best one of all the genders? Who knows? But of the transgenders, clearly they're top 5. So we're just going to put them in charge. No more of that. There are things, and this is really interesting because, Pete, when it comes to war, I feel like this is all a no-brainer. And again, I've never served in the military. I never enlisted. I never served in part-time. I never went to war, never did any of those things. I kind of wish, had I had it all to do over again, I probably would have. I would have liked to, at least for a little bit. I did have some asthma when I was a kid. I've grown out of it now. I've managed to control it. So I don't know that I would have been able to do much of anything. Like my parents pulled me out of soccer when I was a kid because I couldn't breathe. So I don't know that the military was in my future, but if I could do it all over again, I definitely would have, because I think it would have given, some added discipline and some added respect and some other things that I'm lacking. But I think that what he's saying here to people who served and people who didn't serve makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. You can't be fat. And if you're going to be a leader, you should probably know what you're talking about. You should probably be the best person for the job. Remember what he said about our leaders. We're not looking for the first. We're not looking for fairness. We're not looking for equality. We're looking for competence and qualification. And what was the other thing? There's a whole bunch of stuff.
Good leaders.
Good leaders.
Competent. Qualified. Professional. Agile. Aggressive. Innovative. Risk-taking. Apolitical. Faithful to their oath and to the Constitution.
Yeah. Notice he said apolitical and not asexual. That's what we're looking for. And also, no more fatties. There's things we can control and there's things we can't. And in war, you've got to make sure that the things you can control are hitting at the highest level.
In combat, there are thousands of variables, as I learned in Iraq and Afghanistan, and as so many of you did in so many more places. Leaders can only control about 3 of them. You control how well you're trained, mostly how well you're equipped, and the last variable is how well you lead. After that, you're on your own. Our warfighters are entitled to be led by the best and most capable leaders. That is who we need you all to be. Even then, in combat, even if you do everything right, you may still lose people because the enemy always gets a vote. We have a sacred duty to ensure that our warriors are led by the most capable and qualified combat leaders. This is one thing you and I can control. And we owe it to the force to deliver it.
Think about that. Think about what a volunteer military is. We have a volunteer military. My son's 19, holy cow. And my daughter's and they always, talk about, well, if we go to war, if there's World War III, will I get drafted? I go, no, you're not going to get drafted. And they go, well, I think I'm going to get drafted. I go, we have the largest volunteer military in the world. You're not going to get drafted. Watch now, the war's going to break out and I'm going to get drafted. The first thing my kids are going to say is, you lied to me. But we have the largest volunteer military in the entire world. We have people that are raising their hands, more so now than ever before, thanks to these new high standards set by Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, and President Donald Trump, the Commander-in-Chief. But we have people that are willing to go and fight and train and serve for the United States of America. And don't we owe it to them to give them good leaders? Don't we owe it to them to give them the best general, the hardest drill sergeant, the meanest admiral? I don't even know. We need to make sure that these people are being trained by the best that the world has to offer. That if they're snipers or marksmen or infantry, that they have the best weapons, that they're equipped with the best artillery, that they have the safest armor. Don't we at least owe that to them? They're saying, I will put my life on the line to protect your freedom and liberty. Don't we at least have the duty to say, okay, great, we're going to send you in there with somebody who's actually qualified. And they may be an old, abrasive, misogynist, slightly racist white man, but man, they are going to drill into you training like you've never seen before. And yeah, we could find a transgender person or a black woman or a pregnant woman to put in their place, but we actually believe we owe it to you to give you the best person for the job. And you may hate them and you may curse them and you may wish them dead, but you will be a lean, mean, lethal fighting machine. And when you go into battle, which God forbid you should never do, but if you're called up, if we have some enemy who tiptoes across the line with the audacity to think that they can take on the might of the American military, if sometime in the future that happens, don't worry. Because we gave you the best leaders, we equipped you to the best of our ability, and we are giving you the best plan possible. So, if, God forbid, you have to go fight the enemies of freedom and liberty in America and the Constitution, there's a pretty gosh darn good chance that you will be victorious and you will come home unscathed, which is more than we can say for them. That's the least we can do, isn't it? That's what Pete Hegseth says. So if you are thinking of joining the military, if you've joined the military, if you have a son or a daughter or a nephew or a niece or a brother or a sister joining the American military, have no fear. Because Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, they know that the people that they're putting in charge are the best. The people that are training your sons and your daughters and your nieces and your nephews and your brothers and your sisters and all of these people, they are going to make sure that they go away and come back in one piece. And rest assured, when they get to basic training, when they walk around the barracks, when their commanding officers line them up and start screaming at them, they may say that they're mean. They may say they're abrasive. They may say they're profane. But there's one thing they will never be able to say. They will never be able to say that they're fat.
It's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
You're gonna have the most physically fit bastards training your sons and daughters, and America and the world will be better off for it. By the way, this wasn't just for the troops. He also had a message for our enemies. So if there's any enemies of the United States of America, both foreign and domestic, who listen to this show. And you know what? I always take it for granted that everyone that listens to this show is a liberty loving, freedom defending patriot like me. I always take it for granted that everybody that listens to this show is a liberty loving, freedom defending patriot who's proud of our Constitution, who thinks that government needs to keep its paws out of our pocketbooks, and who thinks that there's we need more freedom, we need more liberty. I always take it for granted that that's the majority of the audience, but I imagine there's some people out there who are the enemy, and they're tuning in because, you got to know what your enemy's talking about. And so if the enemy's out there listening, Pete Hegseth also has a message for you.
To our enemies, FAFO. If necessary, our troops can translate that for you.
To our enemies, FAFO. When's the last time you heard a Secretary of Defense say something so direct to the enemies of the United States of America when he knows they're going to hear it?
FAFO.
To the enemies of the United States of America, whether you're a foreign enemy like, China, North Korea, Iran, Russia, whether you're a domestic enemy like, Tren de Aragua or Antifa, or any of the cartel, the Sinaloa cartel, if you're one of those people in Venezuela getting in a boat full of cocaine and drugs and fentanyl, and you're racing toward the American shore only to be infiltrated or intercepted by a torpedo not a torpedo, but a shell from a Coast Guard vessel, look, be warned, okay? Pete Hegseth is warning you.
FAFO.
Yeah, that's the message. We should put that that should be a patch, shouldn't it? I know they got the American flag patch, and then you have your name badge somewhere on the fatigues. Oh, maybe the fatigues could be, how they have the digital fatigues? Maybe you could do an FAFO on the fatigues. I saw some guy the other day, he did an Uga painting from the University of Georgia, and all of the Uga painting was just him writing Uga in various different shades and styles and colors. And when you step back from it, it looked like Uga, which was the dog. That's the dog's name. And maybe we could do that. Maybe the digitized fatigues could just be FAFO written out over and over again. I kind of like that idea. I don't know. Again, I don't know who we talk to about that. I don't know if we can make it happen.
FAFO.
But I really think that would be I really kind of think that'd be a sweet deal. Listen, before we get to President Donald Trump, because it wasn't just the Secretary of War, it was the Commander-in-Chief himself. I mean, Donald Trump, he got on the helicopter. He said, look, I'm going to go talk to them. We're going to do an esprit de corps. So Donald Trump himself came out, and he also had some things to say to the troops and about the new ideas that he has for the new military and how the military is going to be handled and how the leaders will be chosen and all that kind of thing. Before we get to that, though, I did want to remind you about something that's happening tonight. We're having our own esprit de corps. And if you are a fan of this show, or if you are a fan of marketing or podcasting, if you're somebody who spends as much time online as I do, and you're really willing or wondering how to maximize your content creation efforts, how to make sure that the content you create not only hits the right audience, but sends the right message and brings you a return on your investment, whether that's a time investment or a monetary, whatever. If you're looking to post online, create a podcast, a YouTube video, Instagram, whatever it is, and profit from it, then you're going to want to join me in 6 hours, 1 minute, and 4 seconds. Because tonight, in 6 hours, 1 minute, and now in 6 hours and 59 seconds, we're going to be hosting Podcast Profits Live. It's at 8 p.m. tonight. And at 8 p.m., I'll be sharing with you all my secrets on how to launch a money-making podcast in just 1 hour without a studio, without tech skills, or a huge online following. This is my proven system. The system I use every single day to create not one, but two top-rated, top 1% in the world podcasts and monetize them so that they can sustain my lavish lifestyle. I'm a jet setter, folks. And if you want to learn how I do it simply by podcasting from the comfort of my own home, join me tonight. This is a free event. You must register. Go to podcastprofitspro.com, podcastprofitspro.com. The website address is also linked in the description of this video on YouTube or on Rumble, so you can go check it out. Definitely register. Join me tonight. You're going to love it. There's nothing else on TV. There's nothing else going on tonight on TV. So join us. Learn how to literally change your life and your lifestyle with a free event, podcastprofitspro.com. All right, so Donald Trump went to Quantico, and after Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, told everybody FAFO.
FAFO.
Yeah, after that happened, Donald Trump took the stage, and Donald Trump was a little shocked at how quiet it was, because he usually doesn't speak to an audience of 800 military who are trained not to react to any situation, even the President of the United States taking the stage.
I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future. But you just feel nice and loose, okay? Because we're all on the same team. And I was told that, sir, you won't hear a murmur in the room. I said, we got to loosen these guys up a little bit. So you just have a good time.
Yeah, we got to loosen these guys up a little bit. We got to make sure that these guys have a good time. Donald Trump walking out in front of 800 of the toughest military personnel, career military, and not a word. Not an applause, not a snicker, not a laugh, not a cheer, not a USA. It's really got to be kind of daunting. He didn't know how to react. But he said, "Look, that's not why we're here for one reason and one reason only: to restore the purpose and the pride to our American military."
The Secretary Hegseth beautifully described the name change reflects far more than the shift in branding. It's really a historic reassertion of our purpose and our identity and our pride. That's when we go with the word war.
Yeah. When we go with the word war, what we're basically saying is we are no longer just on the defense. We're not just defending our homeland. We are prepared to go to battle and to win. And with preparation for war, you bring everlasting peace. And that is something that President Donald Trump is reiterating. He was also reiterating how woke is dead, how DEI is buried, and that the physical fitness and the standards of the American military will be high for everybody.
We're bringing back a focus on fitness, ability, character, and strength. And That's because the purposes of American military is not to protect anyone's feelings. It's to protect our republic, and it's the republic that we dearly love. It's to protect our country. We will not be politically correct when it comes to defending American freedom, and we will be a fighting and winning machine. We want to fight, we want to win, and we want to fight as little as possible. You have to count on people like me to keep you out of wars, because we don't want to go into wars.
We don't want to go into wars. We want to fight as little as possible. And the role of the American military, the role of these leaders is not to protect your feelings. It's to protect the republic. That I couldn't have said it better myself. The role of the American military is not to protect anyone's feelings. It's to protect the republic. Right, Hakeem Jeffries?
Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't cop out through a racist and fake AI video. When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face. Say it to my face.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit.
What does he want Donald Trump to say to his face? He wants Donald Trump, so next time Hakeem Jeffries walks in, he wants him to play the Mexican hat dance and go, hey, listen, Hakeem, nobody cares about your feelings. Our job is not to protect your feelings, buddy. Our job is to protect the republic.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know? At least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
They hate us. That's posted, by the way, on President Donald Trump's Truth Social. I'll be honest with you. I love everything about this administration. I love the ideas that they're putting forward. I love the agenda. I love the name changes. I love the Gulf of America. I love the Department of War. I think the way they've maneuvered the Democrats into a corner on the government shutdown is brilliant. I think the way that they've manipulated all of these industries into cutting prices for Americans, bringing money back to the United States of America, and simultaneously choking our enemies, slowly bankrupting our enemies, stealing business from our enemies, who, let's face it, stole from us. It was actually given away to them by years of Democrat misrepresentation. We had the largest pharmaceutical industry in the entire world. We had the chip making and manufacturing here in the United States of America. We had all these amazing things, car manufacturing, everything. The United States of America dominated technology and manufacturing and everything until the Democrats slowly gave it away. They gave it away to all of these other countries. They all got rich because of payouts. Just look at Joe Biden and his family and all the money they got from China and Russia and Ukraine and all these other places. And that was it. They sold out America. And now Donald Trump is buying it back. He's not actually buying it back. He's just demanding. He's saying, look, you're going to start making your drugs. And don't think that Pfizer wasn't given the tariff talk. Don't think that Pfizer, oh yeah, wow, look, Pfizer, they're doing great. They're bringing $70 billion to the United States of America and they're lowering drug prices. Don't think they're doing it out of the goodness of their own hearts. They're doing it because they knew that they were staring down the barrel of the tariff gun. Donald Trump dropped the T word and he said, here are your choices. We will tariff the you-know-what out of you, or you can make your crap here in the United States of America. And they opted to make their stuff in the United States of America. That's exactly what's been going on. And it is doing wonders for the job market. It's doing wonders for the economy. It's doing wonders for prices. And the other thing is, it's hurting those people who would hurt the United States of America. It's really incredible what's happening. It's an incredible time to be alive. And I, for one, am thrilled to be just a small part of what's going on in the new golden age. I'm thrilled to be here every single day sharing with you the information and the inspiration that comes from Donald Trump and his team. And if you're worried about the government shutdown, do not be worried about the government shutdown. We've been through government shutdowns before. We know how this one ends. It ends just fine. The government will open back up. People will get paid. And at the end of the day, Everybody will be better off. The CR will pass. I mean, again, I'm no fan of that, but at least it's a clean. This CR, by the way, I don't know if you, there are such liars, and the Democrats, I guess they forget that we have the media, like we're the media now, right? That's the thing. I'm the media now. That's one of the things that the Democrats seem to forget, because they, where did I put all the audio? They have, I don't know where I put the audio. There's all this stuff going on about, oh, here it is. No, that's not it. It's somewhere. But there's all this stuff going around that where the Democrats are talking about how the Republicans are holding the bill hostage, and the Republicans and the money that the Republicans want is, here it is right here, is just exorbitant, and how it's the Republicans that are trying to add pork to the bill. John Thune literally brought the bill out, and he showed people how it's 24 pages, folks.
This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're talking about. 24 pages. It's a continuing resolution to fund the government through November the 21st. I don't know where they're saying this is some huge partisan thing. This is something we do fairly routinely. And when the Democrats had the majority on 13 different occasions, they had the majority, President Biden was in the White House, we passed continuing resolutions to fund the government. This is purely and simply hostage taking.
Yeah, he called them hostage taking, called them hijackers. Said they were taking the American people hostage, and they're lying about it because it's 24 pages. It's literally 24 pages, as opposed to what the Democrats want, which is basically everything that they lost when they lost the election.
First of all, we have to keep essential services functioning as well as possible if the Democrats shut down the government, and Russ has been tasked with making sure that's possible. Now, you asked about negotiations. One of the things I admired about the president, but frankly the entire team's approach during the conversation we just had with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries was, they have some crazy ideas. Giving taxpayer money to illegal aliens for health care, that's a crazy idea. Funding transgender surgeries in Peru, that's a crazy idea. But they had some ideas that I actually thought were reasonable, and they had some ideas that the president thought was reasonable. What's not reasonable is to hold those ideas as leverage and to shut down the government unless we give you everything that you want. There were multiple times where Leader Jeffries or Leader Schumer would say, you know what, we should be doing this. And the President of the United States would say, yeah, absolutely, let's have that conversation. But we're going to do it in the context of the people's government being open. We're not going to let you take the people's government hostage and then give you everything that you want. And that's really the state of the negotiation. Yeah, let's have a conversation. Let's have a negotiation. But we're not going to shut down the government because we won't give the Democrats everything that they want.
I couldn't imagine walking into the Oval Office and, in a suit in what is going to be a serious meeting and saying, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, listen, we're willing to keep the government open, but you must fund transgender surgeries in Peru. It's imperative to the American people. It's necessary to the American way of life. We have to protect our republic. And the only way we can do that is to fund transgender surgeries in Peru. And if we don't get the funding for transgender surgeries in Peru, I'm sorry, the American people will suffer, because those Peruvian confused individuals need their transgender surgeries and they can't pay for it themselves. We need to come to their aid. I couldn't imagine doing that. How do you do that even with a straight face? How do you walk into the Oval Office and say, we know that American soldiers are going to go unpaid. We know that American Border Patrol agents are going to go unpaid. We know that people here in the United States of America who pay taxes to our government, the people who elected us and put us in this position of power, we know that they're going to suffer if we shut down the government, but we're willing to do it unless you give free health care, which Americans don't even get, by the way, free health care to illegal thug, criminal, gang member aliens that really should be deported anyway, but we want the ones that are here to get free health. That's what we want. I mean, how do you do that in a serious, that's not a serious ask. That's not a serious, especially since you lost the election. You have no control of any branch of government. Americans overwhelmingly find your policies idiotic and unpopular, yet you still walk in to the Oval Office and you demand those things. And then you get angry when the president not only throws you out, but posts a meme of you in a sombrero with a Pancho Villa mustache.
FAFO.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Oh, listen, don't forget tonight, Podcast Profits Pro. Very exciting. Go to podcastprofitspro.com. We're going to do the live presentation starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Would love to have you there. Also, this is cool. We'll be back tomorrow, so make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. If you have the podcast set up, if you're listening to the audio on iTunes or Spotify or iHeart, tell them I want this every single day because we're here every single day to bring it to you. And if you're listening on YouTube or Rumble, if you're watching on Facebook or X, make sure that you're following, make sure you're thumbing up, make sure you're sharing it with other like-minded liberty-loving, freedom-defending patriots because we would love to have, they say the more the merrier. There's FAFO and then there's the more the merrier. And we live by both of those here at Mark K Saves the Republic. And again, of course, we want you to stay informed. We want you to know what's happening in the United States of America, what's happening worldwide. We want you to be cognizant of what the enemy is saying about you, what they're doing to you, how they're stealing your money, how they're trying to steal your freedoms, and what you can do to protect yourself, your family, your finances, and your future from all of these enemies, foreign and domestic, just like the American military. Just like they take a vow, they vow to protect the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. So do our elected representatives, supposedly, and so do we. As a member of the Patriots, as a liberty-loving, freedom-defending Patriot, you too have sworn an unwritten oath to fight, so we can save the Republic. Listen, we're going to have a after party here in just a minute. So if you're like, no, I want more. I can't believe this is over. We need more. Well, there's going to be some more. We're going to do some live Q&A. You can ask me whatever you want. And we'll do that here in the Patriot Club. The Patriot Club is a members only. It's a members only club where we hang out 3-4 times a week. We have some special stuff going on. And if you'd like to be a member, if you'd like to interact directly, then all you have to do is go to patriots.com. It's $10 a month. Or this is cool. If you subscribe for the whole year, you get 2 months free.